Right now, combating hate here in Wisconsin in the wake of several mass shootings across the country. And burning for several hours, a wind turbine catches fire in Columbia County. What we know about how it happened. Plus, we hear from the people on the receiving end of this drunk driving crash, trapped inside their home after that car came crashing through the wall.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 10.
And thanks for joining us tonight. Those stories in just a few minutes. First, a storm continues to move through the area. The main concerns here, some wind and rain out there. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti has been following this all day long, and he joins us with our first alert forecast. Gary?
Eric, right now there's no warnings in effect for southern Wisconsin, although we are watching some strong thunderstorms that are just to our south and west. Just moved through the Platteville area, had a wind gust of 54 miles per hour at the Platteville airport. These storms will be moving through the southwestern portion of Lafayette County, south and west of Darlington. Also some strong storms just to the north of Monroe, right around New Glarus. Those storms heading toward Monticello by about 10:06 and Albany by about 10:30. The storm in the Platteville area will head toward Benton by about 10:30, but again, the main threat is going to be strong straight line winds from these storms, maybe up to 40 to 50 miles per hour, even a little bit stronger. The storms have pretty much formed into a solid line now and are starting to accelerate a little bit more toward the south and east. That should get them out of southern Wisconsin by about midnight. High temperatures today were in the mid 80s to around 90 degrees. Janesville hit 90, as did Milwaukee. La Crosse topped out at 92. Current temperatures, though, have cooled into the mid 60s where the rain has moved through from Madison northward, but dew point temperatures are still in the mid 60s to the lower 70s. And by tomorrow morning, the rain should be over with. There could be some patchy fog. Look for a sunny day tomorrow later on in the day. Our high temperature topping out at 82. Later on, I'll take a look at the chance for some more thunderstorms on Wednesday.
Gary, thank you. The gun control debate back center stage after 3 mass shootings in a week. Last Sunday, Gilroy, California, a gunman killed 3 people at an outdoor festival. Then on Saturday, 22 people were killed at an El Paso Walmart. Just 13 hours later in Dayton, in less than a minute, a gunman killed 9 people at a popular nightclub area. Now, law enforcement is investigating 2 of those shootings as possible hate crimes. A race-related manifesto was found online, allegedly written by the El Paso shooter. And right before the California shooting, the gunman there posted a reference from an author with white nationalist views. It's that type of hate a Madison area group is committed to overcoming. Madeline O'Neill brings us the story.
Eric, Wisconsin has about 15 active hate groups. That's according to the Southern Poverty Law Center, which tracks more than 1,600 extremist groups nationally. Here in our state, the movement We Are Many United Against Hate says now is the time to make change. In a country reeling from back-to-back mass shootings, in a year with more than 250 so far, the question becomes, what can we do?
Lives are being lost for no reason.
Here at home, a nonpartisan nonprofit group is looking for solutions.
We believe that a lot of things that you are seeing is because of fear, hate, and confusion.
Masood Akhtar, president of We Are Many United Against Hate, is pushing for a bipartisan resolution strongly condemning all sorts of hate.
Hate is not a Republican issue. It's not a Democrat issue. It's a human issue.
The Southern Poverty Law Center maps out what it considers hate groups, with categories like neo-Nazism and nationalism. 2 are in the Madison area, including the Pilgrim's Covenant Church in Monroe, listed by the site for being anti-LGBT.
I think that it's dangerous to accuse everyone of hating because you have a different opinion from that person or organization.
Its pastor, Ralph Ovedel, says while the church has taken a stance against homosexuality, it isn't its main focus, and he isn't sure what sets his church apart.
To be stuck in with Nazis, white supremacists, and other groups that truly do hate, and some even call for violence, it's just hard to be in with them, especially my background is that my dad in World War II was in 3 different Nazi prison camps.
For Akhtar, hate is hate and must be addressed.
Engagement is so critical.
He says that means addressing economic insecurity and teaching Americans that others aren't so different. It's something he's confident this country can do.
People are not born with hate. People are taught to hate. If they can be taught to hate, it's easy to teach them how to love.
Akhtar urges people to get involved by making phone calls to elected officials. Now he hopes his group, We Are Many United Against Hate, can expand to a national scale.
Madeline O'Neill reporting at Maddie. Thank you. And the mass shootings in El Paso and Dayton come as people in Wisconsin remember the lives lost on this day 7 years ago, August 5th, 2012. A gunman opened fire at the Sikh temple in Oak Creek near Milwaukee. 6 people died, 4 others were wounded. And Governor Tony Evers is calling on the Republican-controlled state legislature to take action. Today, he called for the members to pass a universal background check bill and to consider so-called red flag laws, which would make it easier to take guns away from those believed to be a danger either to themselves or to others. The red flag law is something Attorney General Josh Kaul called for on Inauguration Day. Today, he tells News 3 Now preventing gun violence should be bipartisan, and supporting a red flag law is a rare issue where he says he agrees with President Trump.
I think we all agree that if there's a law enacted, we should make sure that there are safeguards in place so that nobody's constitutional rights are affected.
The day that we assign some mental health police to decide who can and can't own a gun, we might as well walk over to the Smithsonian, pull out the Constitution and drop it in the shredder.
Now, that was the head of the group, Wisconsin Kerry. Instead of a red flag law, he says the best way to prevent mass shootings would be for more people to learn how to protect themselves if they encounter a shooter. He encourages more people to get concealed carry permits and be their own first responder. A new warning has just been issued. Here's Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti. Once again, Gary, what's the latest?
Eric, we now have a severe thunderstorm warning for Iowa and Lafayette counties until looks like 10:45. This line of thunderstorms that was in the Platteville area now starting to show a little bit of acceleration off toward the east. Notice that kind of a bow shape in the echo just to the east of Platteville, heading over toward Gratiot and Darlington. So much of Iowa and Lafayette County could see strong straight line winds to 60 miles per hour. If we do a quick storm track on that, that would take these storms into the Argyle area eventually by about 10:33. So again, if you're in Iowa and Lafayette counties, be aware of that line of thunderstorms heading in your direction. Straight line winds to 60 miles per hour possible. Other strong thunderstorms have moved through Madison and now are heading down into areas north of Monroe and over towards Janesville in the next 45 minutes. I'll have more updates as conditions warrant.
Gary, thank you. A Florida man gets 20 years in prison for mailing 16 fake pipe bombs to politicians and the CNN headquarters before the 2018 midterm elections. Cesar Sayoc targeted several prominent Democrats, including Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. Prosecutors had called for a life sentence. Defense lawyers urged leniency, claiming Sayoc is mentally ill and is sorry for his actions. A man was killed this evening. This happened in a farming accident in the Green Lake County town of Brooklyn. The Sheriff's Department says a tractor rolled over near the intersection of Brooklyn G and Spalding Hill Roads, pinning the man underneath. He has not yet been named, only being identified as a 61-year-old from Green Lake. A Wisconsin man has been charged with second-degree murder in the death of a Missouri woman who has been missing for 13 years. 37-year-old Keith Comfort is being held in jail on a $1 million bond. Police say Comfort walked into the Lake Geneva Police Department yesterday and asked to speak with an officer about his former wife, Megan Schultz, who had been missing since 2006. She was last seen leaving the couple's apartment in Columbia, Missouri. A wind turbine burned for several hours today. We Energy says one of its 90 turbines in the Glacier Hills Wind Park in Randolph caught fire. This was about 3:40 this afternoon. There were no injuries. Crews say it's too soon to determine exactly how it started. A couple in Columbus narrowly escaped serious injury after a car came crashing through the side of their home over the weekend. Police say the driver was likely under the influence. News 3 Now's Amy Reed has the story.
It's 2 in the morning. A car comes off of this curve, hits this tree, and then catches air off this hill, landing in the house. It's not even the first time this has happened, but the people who live here say they hope it's the last.
It sounded like an explosion.
I was confused. I didn't know what happened. I thought it blew up, and then I realized it wasn't winter, so why would the furnace blow up if the air conditioning is running?
But when the dust cleared, Robin Schick saw what her husband saw.
I'm fine. said to him, what happened? And he said, there's a car in the bedroom.
The driver soared 95 feet from a berm in the yard through the wall, smashing through trees and leaving a giant hole in the side and floor, sending him through the windshield.
There's a sheet with a bunch of his blood on it.
It's been constant cleanup ever since, but it will take more than the 2 days that have passed for these scars to heal, the physical ones and the mental ones.
She would have stayed with me talking in the kitchen a couple more minutes. She would probably open the door and we're pushing her against that chimney, and that's why I didn't sleep last night.
You don't feel real safe. You wake up because you're thinking it's going to happen again.
They said this house has been hit by drivers before, at least 3 times.
it's not a safe curve, and it's marked, but still, people still speed around the corner. They don't care.
The owner asked the state for a guardrail to keep wayward drivers in the road, but so far, nothing. They said the state said no. We couldn't verify that.
Guess it's going to cost somebody's life before they put a guardrail up. Plain and simple.
Until the state does something on this stretch of Highway 89, the Schicks are keeping their guards up, but they hope soon they don't need to anymore.
Please do something about this. Plain and simple.
In the town of Columbus, Amy Reed, News 3 Now.
Now, the driver has been arrested and is awaiting criminal charges. Police believe alcohol and speed both played a factor. State Department of Transportation is revoking the dealer licenses from 2 Columbia County car dealerships. A DOT investigation found Best Motors and Manhattan Motors, both on Skyline Drive in Arlington, sold vehicles with mileage discrepancies to customers. County Highway PD at the intersection of Verona Road is now closed. Crews are working to start putting up the overpass there. PD will be closed nightly at that intersection through Thursday from 7 in the evening until 6 in the morning. And still ahead tonight, your forecast, a stormy start to the work week. Plus, with the rising cost of living, how to find quality, affordable childcare in Madison. It's not easy. The story just ahead. Stay with us. As many parents know, finding childcare is one of the biggest burdens on any new parent, but paying for it puts many families over the edge financially. Only News 3 Now's Josh Sprider shows you how to afford childcare here in Madison.
And then gentle, whoop. Can you hold your hand out? As soon as I found out I was pregnant, I had to start looking for care.
Jessica Bowden knows firsthand how difficult it is to find childcare in the Madison area.
We were on waiting lists all over town.
But finding a place for her little Milo around 2.5 years ago was just the start.
There were certainly some programs that I really wanted to get him into, but just looking at the cost of it, I didn't really know how we could swing that.
In some cases, it would cost Jessica and her husband $300 to $350 a week, and that's only with one kid.
It was more than I spent in a year in college myself.
It took the couple more than a year before they finally got Milo into an in-home daycare.
you're setting that stage for their whole life. And so finding that quality care was a must.
This is a child care crisis, according to Jody Bartnick. She's the executive director of Community Coordinated Child Care, or 4C.
Parents can't afford to pay, teachers can't afford to stay.
Bartnick says Madison has a reputation for having high-quality childcare, which is a bonus. But along with that, the cost for childcare keeps rising, while the need for more licensed childcare providers grows.
It's a super critical job. So we know that the brain develops most rapidly in the first 1,000 days of life. So the importance of this fundamental learning that's happening in these early years is so critical to kind of building the successes for that child early on.
Bartnick adds the average starting wage for a childcare worker is around $13 an hour. But paying more will only make it harder for parents to access care. That's where 4C hopes to help.
So we really want to make sure that all parents can access quality care, particularly low-income families can access quality care. So we often think about advocating for higher wages for the early childhood profession and thinking about affordable childcare costs.
I see you.
The city of Madison has an accreditation system, and the state also helps fund childcare programs. But Bartnick tells me much more needs to be done.
Research shows that if we invest in these programs now, we'll pay less in our criminal justice system, we'll help people move out of poverty. We know that the social benefits will pay off. It's just kind of getting people on board and recognizing the importance of education beginning at birth.
She says businesses need to focus more on helping out parents with more flexibility as well.
If you have a parent that can stay home with their children, that's a huge benefit. So not only can they stay home with their kids and be part of that, kind of those early years with them, they can also then take care of a few other kids, raise some more money.
In any case, 4C is there to help answer questions for concerned parents in the 8 counties surrounding Madison and point them in the right direction.
Can I do some more?
Something the Bowdens applaud after going through the lengthy process of finding their son a place they were comfortable with.
It's so nice to be able to bring him to a place where I know he's having fun, he's safe, he's learning, and I can go to work and focus on what I'm doing.
Because as a parent, Jessica knows just how much it will impact Milo's future.
It's your baby. This is the most precious thing in your life that you love more than anything, more than life itself.
In Madison, Josh Breiter, News 3 Now.
Jessica recommends new parents aim high and go from there. She says you can also look into the Wisconsin Shares program, where you may even qualify for assistance. All right, we need to go quickly to weather. Gary's been monitoring some severe weather moving through the area. Gary?
That's right, Eric. We still have some severe thunderstorms moving through parts of Iowa and Lafayette County from Dodgeville southward to just west of Darlington. Right now, a severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 10:45, basically from Dodgeville southward, including Highway 151 and all of Lafayette County. That is for the potential for straight line winds of 60 miles per hour or greater. Some of the strongest thunderstorm cells are actually moving through far southern portions of Grant County and be moving into northwestern Illinois. Also seeing a couple of strong thunderstorms that have moved through Greene County and now heading down toward the Janesville area. Those right now not severe. Take a look at the wind velocities. See the potential for a little bit of rotation just to the south and west of Darlington. That just may concentrate the low-level winds down toward the ground a little bit. This storm has had a history of producing some wind damage as it moved through parts of northeastern Iowa, but it's moving pretty quickly. In fact, this whole line of thunderstorms is now starting to accelerate more toward the south and southeast. The bulk of it is already past Madison, heading into Janesville and over toward Platteville. Areas north of Wisconsin Dells pretty much have seen the rain come to an end. As we look at future radar over the next couple of hours, these storms will move southward into northern Illinois, and most of the rain should probably be over with not long after midnight. There have been some severe weather reports, especially up toward the Dells, some wind damage reports, also one here in northeastern Iowa. That's from the storm that's actually moving through Lafayette County right now. Actually destroyed a barn and caused some damage around a farm, but it was very localized wind, so an indication that it was just probably a downburst of wind that caused that strong or caused the wind damage in northeastern Iowa. Now on Wednesday, there's a marginal risk for severe thunderstorms through much of Wisconsin. This is another cold front heads southeastward. This could bring an isolated strong to severe thunderstorm, but more importantly, it'll bring a break in the heat and humidity for the second half of the week. The time lapse from the Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison shows the low clouds coming in from the southwest, and notice the high clouds coming in from the northwest. That's what we call wind shear, and that helps to organize the thunderstorms. And you can see the live view from the Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison. It's been raining hard there. We've been seeing flashes of lightning, although much of the lightning now is starting to shift more to the south of Madison. High today, 86 degrees, low temperature at 65, so well above the normals of 80 and 60. Right now, our temperature stands at 65 degrees with a thunderstorm moving through. Winds have shifted to the northwest at 5 miles per hour. The dew point temperature at 63. So our forecast calls for showers and thunderstorms to gradually come to an end overnight. Patchy fog is possible by morning at a low of 65. Tomorrow, look for skies to become mostly sunny. It'll still be warm and humid with a high temperature of 82. On future track, that line of storms heading to the southeast and out of Wisconsin by morning. Some areas of fog overnight, but then skies turn sunny for tomorrow with highs in the lower 80s. Tomorrow night, clear skies, low temperatures in the mid-60s, and then look for another chance of thunderstorms later Wednesday afternoon with highs in the mid-80s. Rainfall amounts could, over the next couple of days, could be anywhere from 1/4 of an inch to 3/4 of an inch or more. Some areas could see 1 or 2 inches in heavier thunderstorms, but the 7 to 10 day forecast, look at this. The break in the humidity starts on Thursday. High temperatures upper 70s Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Low 80s on Sunday, but the humidity levels should stay low for much of next week, and that will limit the late rain chances as well.
You got back just in time for this.
I left when the severe weather ended 2 weeks ago, and I come back when it comes back.
It was waiting for you, Gary.
I think so.
All right, Gary, thanks. Christian Yelich goes deep twice tonight. Brewers pitching staff, though, takes another hit. We'll have the story coming up in sports.
Stop me if you've heard this one before. The Brewers have a starting pitcher on the injured list. This time it's Zach Davies, who has back spasms. He's the fourth Brewers starter on the IL. Tonight, the struggling Brewers try to right their ship again in Pittsburgh. One thing that's been constant all season long, Christian Yelich. Can you believe it? He had 2 more homers, one in the first, one in the ninth. That's 39 of the season. He had 4 hits. He's hitting .336 in the season. And how about the new guy, Trent Grisham? He's in the leadoff spot, and he's producing. 2-run single here. Final score, Brewers 9, Pirates 7. The Cubs lead the A's 6-5 in the ninth at Wrigley. The Dodgers are leading the Cardinals 4-0 in the fourth in Los Angeles. They got 6 innings in before the rain at Warner Park tonight. Good enough for the Mallards to beat Battle Creek 4-3. Day off tomorrow before the Bombers and Mallards play again at the Duck Pond Wednesday night. The Packers and Houston Texans began their week together in Green Bay today. They practiced together today. They'll practice again tomorrow together. Then they'll play each other in the first preseason game Thursday night at 7 at Lambeau Field. We've heard how J.J. Watt went to Packer practice when he was growing up in Pewaukee and said, I want to be one of those guys someday. Well, today he is. And, of course, he wanted to ride the bikes the kids gave him from the locker room to the practice field. Good news, he did. Bad news is the 289-pound Watt broke the bike he was riding.
The bike that I was using was not equipped for a 290-pound man, and the seat broke off. We have purchased a new bike for the boy, so I apologize for that. But I mean, it's cool. It's one of the coolest traditions, you know. Growing up here, I know how special it is to get to interact with a player from the Green Bay Packers as a kid growing up in Wisconsin. So for them to have that tradition where kids get to be up close and personal with their favorite players and they get to hold their helmet, I mean, that's what it's all about. Those are the memories that those kids are going to have for a lifetime.
As far as the Packers are concerned, they're glad to get to go against someone other than themselves in practice. There are quite a few teams in the NFL that are doing these joint practices to get a different look as the start of the preseason approaches.
You know, their guys are a little grabby, so you know, just to learn how to, you know, fight through that. And you know, this joint practice today and tomorrow, I mean, I think it's good for us, you know, especially our young guys, you know, seeing how it's going to be, you know, when you're going up against a guy you don't know.
Jalen Johnson won't play his senior year of high school basketball in Wisconsin. The former Sun Prairie Star is leaving Nicolet High School to play at IMG Academy in Florida before he goes to Duke. Johnson helped Nicolet to the state boys Division II championship this past March. And yesterday at Westside Pool, Ridgewood won the All-City Swim Meet. At the end of the day, they do what swimmers do when they win the championship. It's everybody in. It's the 4th time in the last 5 years Ridgewood has won the All-City Championship, and that's also 22 of the last 25. There were over 2,000 swimmers competing in over 4,000 events in the 3-day All-City Swim Meet at Westside Swim Club. And we'll be right back.
Gary with the latest on what's going on out there.
Yeah, severe thunderstorm warning has been dropped for Iowa County. Continues until 10:45 for Lafayette County. Looks like the strongest storm is now from around Darlington into northwestern Illinois, but it's part of a line of storms that continues to move now basically south of Dane County through Janesville and Monroe, eventually into northern Illinois. Temperatures have cooled off into the mid-60s. Dew point temperatures are still high, so it's pretty humid out there, but look for a break in the heat and humidity by the end of the week.
Thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 10. Have a good night.